G'day Ron, I just want to do a wrap-up video of what the fuck has happened to Gary over the last few months. A few people sort of, going, fuck, he's got 3.5 foot, it's been through an amputation, and a few questions have been raised on the net, and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, just want to do a video just explaining the whole picture for everyone. Now, I'm at a friend's place. Gary's at Barry's place, so there's going to be no Gary footage in this. It's just going to be a straight fucking summary of what happened. So if you're not into this, fuck off. Um, Basically, a few months ago, I think back in August, I came back to Australia for a court case, and I wasn't going to go and see Gary, but Maggie from Maggie and Donald's farm rang me up. Now Gary's been staying at their farm for the last few years in between tours, just hanging out with 50 sheep in their back paddock, and it's been great. We've been real lucky to have Maggie and Donald. Thanks, Maggie and Donald, having Gary just stay there because he's not tethered. He's got company, and no one's fucking with him. And that's how I like it for Gary. Now, on this last tour, they called me and they said, "Look, Gary's just sort of limping a bit lately," and so I said, "Oh yeah, I'll go down and check him out, right, just to see he's all right." Now, bear in mind, this is farmers, man. They've fucking got heaps of livestock, and fucking very lucky for a goat to be on a farm with sheep, because farmers hate goats because they just lead sheep astray. So normally, if a goat's a bit fucked, they'd go, well, let's just shoot it. Really, they're there for milk and meat. Farmers don't use goats for pets. But Maggie and Donald know that Gary's special, so they let him on there, and I basically just went down to see how he was. Now, got to him in the farm, and he was limping pretty badly on a foot, and we thought it was sort of a cut. He jumped over a fence or something. So I basically just took him to a vet. Now, like I said, most farmers don't bring a fucking $40 animal to a vet because it doesn't make financial sense. And if they did treat all animals like this, the price of meat would be fucking sky high, man. The price of meat is low due to the fact that it's a cliche, but these animals are just fucking growing up and murdered so that we can fucking eat meat, if you eat meat. So I've taken Gary to the vet, the first vet. Now the first vet has basically said he's got this CAE virus, which is a fucking real bad virus. It cripples all your legs, and she cranked all his legs and arthritic, and because it was making all these sounds, she goes, "Look, he's got to be put down, basically, right?" She goes, "Look, I'll confirm it with a fucking test, but he's got to be. It's just not looking good." And I was in a bit of shock, right? It was like, all right, I've got to put Gary down, do we? So I did what most, I'd assume, normal people would do if you've been given a death sentence, more than a death sentence, a euthanasia sentence. So I went to another vet just to get an opinion while we're waiting for this blood test to come back. And the second vet said, "Oh, he's got cancer, or osteomyelitis in the front leg, which is a hoof infection based on an X-ray." And so she said, "No, it doesn't look like this virus." So I went, "Oh yeah, okay." So we went off to another vet who was specialised in goats a bit more, and they could do large animal operations, or at least liaise with people who could do it. And went there, and they said it was basically this osteomyelitis, which was a hoof infection in the front leg, and which was good. So we didn't have the CAE virus by then, which we found out from the first vet. Came back and said, "Oh, actually, I was mistaken. It wasn't that virus," which was good of her. And the second vet's, cancer thing was pretty well ruled out. So the third vet's basically saying, "We've got to chop this hoof off, the front half of the hoof off." Now this is where I've pretty well just gone, fuck, I've got to cut his fucking hoof off. It was much better than putting him down. Now, this is where I really started splitting the crowd with Gary, because I got contacted by these people who make this poultice, which is, I've been calling it mud, but it's volcanic clay which you wrap around the hoof and it brings out an abscess. Now, a poultice is recognised by vets. It's been recognised a long time. You just basically apply heat to hoofed animal's foot and basically brings out an abscess, which localizes the infection in this like pus ball, and then from there you can lance it and then give it antibiotics and it might work, right? And I thought the vet's poultice didn't really come with many recommendations from people, but this Tough Rock poultice I was getting people writing in from horse owners just going, mate, you got to try this stuff. It fucking works real good on horses. Now, horses aren't like goats where you don't just fucking go, I've got a lame horse, I'll fucking shoot it, because, a lot of them are race horses. There's a lot of money in keeping a horse alive, unlike goats, right? So it wasn't I wasn't being charmed by a snake oil salesman. There was no ad. It was real life people who were saying, no, this works from many sources. So at the 11th hour, I went, right, I'll give this poultice a go. It wasn't the vet's recommended one, but the vets do recommend them. Now, speaking to the people who do it, they say basically these people do the Tough Rock thing. They're trying to raise the 100 or 200 grand for it to be on the vet list. But if you're not coming from a big multinational company where you can just pay that money straight up and get the scientists to verify that it works, it's very expensive, right? And meanwhile, when competition comes along and you're not on this approved list, they try and knock you out of the game, basically. And that's what's happened to these guys. But I thought, well, okay, fuck it. I don't care about all that. All I care is this might save Gary's foot. And they said at Tough Rock, this is not going to cure the osteomyelitis, but it could bring out an abscess, and then from there, fucking lance it, and then let the antibiotics get in there. So I gave it a go, and it triggered a lot of people who thought, alternative medicine just freaks a lot of people out. It's like they think, just do exactly what the fucking vets say. The doctors say. I mean, if I did exactly what the first vet said, I just would have fucking shot him that afternoon, because he was fucked, right? But I didn't. I've gone down this inquiry of fucking how. All my goal was, how can I try and save Gary's hoof, or just do the best I can for him for long term. So obviously a lot of people have been triggered by alternative medicine and all this. I was like, well, fuck it, man, I'm going to try this poultice. And I've done it for a good 2 weeks, right? Bearing in mind as well, the third vet who said, chop it off, they did say, look, we've got a week or two where it probably won't make much difference if you delay it. So they said, okay, fucking, I respect your decision. So I probably pushed it to about 3 weeks, right? And suddenly an abscess appeared on Gary's foot where there was none. When I originally saw it, there's no abscess. And then it was like, okay, this poultice has done something. So I took it to the fourth vet, and the fourth vet said, okay, well, this is a completely different, this is possible, man. Let's just keep this abscess brewing even more, and if we can pop it and then get the antibiotics in, we might be able to save it. So I was back on track with a chance, right? And meanwhile, it's fucking, alternative medicine, if it was alternative and it was proven to work, it'd be called medicine. Yeah, if you've got enough fucking money. And, medicine's, it's an art form, especially diagnosing, man. I mean, you go to a doctor and you say you've got a headache. It could be anything from a hangover to cancer. So, you should shop around sometimes, if that's what your instincts says. And that's what I'm doing with Gary. My instinct was saying, just fucking keep moving. keep just fucking trying everything he can. So I mean, I'm moving around with Gary anyway, so I couldn't just stay in the one area. So I've gone to the fourth vet, so I've let it brew a bit more, and it's built up. And then the fifth vet has basically said, "Yeah, it's pretty ripe. This abscess, we'll pop it." Now, this fifth vet has basically been saying, while I showed it to him, he said, "Just let it go for another week." He said, use our poultice, which is I think it's called animal Lintex, and I tried it with Gary, and it just didn't work as well as the tough rock. Right, I could see the abscess going down, because tough rocks, it's this clay thing which was applying heat, and this animal Lintex was just a wrap thing. It wasn't as good. This is just my opinion, right? And I didn't. Last thing I wanted was this abscess to go down, because that means, we wouldn't have a chance of not cutting it off. So, but the vets can't recommend anything off their list, right? So, it was an alternative product I was going for, but it wasn't an alternative treatment. So, we've got up to the stage where the vet's gone, "Yeah, right, we'll have the crack." So they've fucking he's lanced it, and all this pus has oozed out, and it's looking pretty good, right? Because the pus came out, but we still had to wrap it up and keep poulticing it and stuff like this. And meanwhile, by this time, I had to get back overseas. I've got 2 kids, girlfriend, and I've been mucking around for a month or two with Gary, not doing any work, and costs are building up, and blah blah blah. And I've been putting the call out for someone to look after Gary, and it wasn't just put him on a farm and in the back paddock. I really needed someone to give Gary injections and liaise with vets and poultice. It was a fucking big job, man. And it was like, who could do this? And then I found this guy at the last minute off on the net, up in the Hunter Valley, Barry, who was a vet nurse. He's got 3 goats in his back paddock, and he knows how to manhandle them, and he said, "I'll look after them." Just generously offered me, and I went there to his place, and I was just like, "Fuck, this is perfect, man. Fuck, I'm so lucky to get something like this for Gary." And he not only did that, when we got there, he basically said, I'll lance the hoof again, because it got pretty big. And now the second lancing was just, the amount of pus came out was fucking huge. It was a fucking huge amount of pus the day before I left. And Barry, he's not as weird as me. Bear in mind, when I say weird, if long-term followers know I'm into a bit of urine therapy, which a lot of people can't handle. But Barry actually followed my page until I started talking about drinking piss, and then he unfollowed it. He goes, "I'm not here to listen to that," which is, that's cool. So we've connected up after that, right? We're good mates now, after what we've been through with Gary. But he's kind of great. He liaises with the vet, so he knows about medicine stuff. He's also a farm hand, and he was very much of the opinion we can save this. And so he was giving Gary, when I left, really good food, giving him the antibiotics after the abscess was lanced, and which is, mate, 100 kilo goat, antibiotics. You got to put the needle in, but you can't put it into a blood vessel or something, because it could kill him. So you got to draw it back just to make sure there's no blood, and then pump it in. And he's doing that one-handed while wrangling the goat, right? 100 kilos, like I say, he's a big unit, Gary. So it's a skilled effort, and applying the poultice and giving him food and taking him for walks, and fucking amazing, right? Now, Barry did something incredible where he did all this, and it was getting up to the stage where he thought we'd beaten the infection. Now, when I say beaten it, there was always going to be a bit of bone damage, but he was getting up to a stage where he had a bit of a limp. The abscess wasn't coming back, and he was walking in a way which was better than if he had half his hoof amputated, which was pretty amazing, right? So we'd sort of taken a chance and we were just about over the line. It was looking really good. And then Barry just contacted me and said, fuck, the abscess has come back, right? Which wasn't a good sign, because we were hoping that the antibiotics would mop it up, just kill it. Now, antibiotics got a tough job because the bone hasn't got much blood flow through it. It's not like a muscle or something. So an infected bone, antibiotics, it's a tough one to get. And we thought we'd got it, but it just hadn't. So the abscess come back wasn't a good sign. It was like that was the body containing the infection again, but if it wasn't contained in there after a while, it'd just keep growing. So I've come back for the amputation, and we've gone to the amputation, and now Barry's found this vet nearby him, and he shopped around. A real old school vet, had done a lot of operations on goats and stuff, and he was of the opinion that you fully sedate the goat while you do the operation. Now, the third vet who wanted to cut his hoof off was of the opinion that you don't sedate goats because they can die pretty easily under it. And that was confirmed by a lot of other people. So it's going to be a local thing where they just do the amputation while Gary's still conscious. Now, I went into this amputation pretty nervous, going, fuck, this guy, he's just going, nah, I'm going to knock him out, right? Which is pretty controversial for goats, right? Just sucking, he's out, right? Cold. But a lot of vets said you won't wake up. Now, during the operation, if you've seen the amputation operation, I realised, fuck man, this would not have worked unless we knocked the goat out. Like, it was a delicate operation, and there's no way Gary could have consciously gone through that without fucking kicking his hoof. And it just wouldn't have fucking worked, or just would have been fucking horrific with 4 people holding him down. So, the operation went well. It got it off, it sewed it up, and then 2 weeks later, it's all healed really good, and no infections come back. And yeah, Gary's got a significant hobble, right? But it's about 3 weeks after the operation. It's a hobble which looks like will become less, especially over the next few months, 6 months, because the muscles around it, he'll just start compensating for it, and he'll just get better as it heals, and that's what the body does. It heals. It's not like a car where you go, oh yeah, you fix it up, and go, oh don't worry, the car's going to heal itself. It's the human body. It's the animal body. The body does heal itself in many ways, and medicine and alternative medicine just work with that principle. You do an operation, afterwards the surgeon goes, this is going to heal. You don't go to a panel beater, like I said, and go, iron out a dent and go, look, oh, the dent's going to keep ironing itself out. No. So I've got to a stage where Gary is mate, he's not going to go backwards from here. And he's resting. I'm resting him up. I'm not taking him out on tour. I'm leaving him with his goats, friends, in the back paddock. Like I said, Barry's got 3 goats out there. He's got human and animal company, and he's just getting better. Take him out every now and again. We're going to do a few gigs in December. And yeah, so that's the story with Gary, and hopefully tour him next year. But I'm just going to really ease into this slowly. Now, for all the people who have really been giving me shit, I'm still getting shit from people going, you should have listened to the first vet. I mean, the first vet said, put him down. Other people have been going, you shouldn't do this alternate stuff. It's like I said, it's not this tough rock worked. It did everything that they said it'd do, bring out the abscess, and then from there, the antibiotics didn't work. Now, that's not saying that modern medicine doesn't work. It just doesn't work all the time, man. And they've got indemnity from it. You're on the list of approved products, human or animal. You've got indemnity from fuck-ups when things go wrong. Whereas if you're not on that list, you've got your ass hanging out in the wind. So product that comes up through, word of mouth is fucking good generally. So I'm pro modern medicine, and I've got an open mind to alternative medicine. So for those people, just fucking relax from these quotes you hear on the internet. You just get sent these memes from people who, alternative medicine that's not proven to work. What, they're just fucking, they trigger, right? So the thing about science, right, and people who do this are just very much believe in science. If you don't believe in science, fucking you're an idiot. Now the thing about science is, like, say gravity. When scientists found out about gravity, it didn't mean that gravity didn't exist before scientists fucking found out about it. Science just discovers things that's already there, and this poultice has always been there. So that's the story of that. I've been rambling on about that. And the other thing a lot of people are saying is, oh, well, why don't you just put him down? He's hobbling, put him down. Even now, it's like, man, I'm not going to put him down any more than I'm going to go up to someone who's got half a foot and go, mate, I think you should put yourself down. Bearing in mind, I've had a lot of people writing in saying they've had osteomyelitis as well, humans, and they've lost a limb, a foot or whatever, and they're fucking, giving Gary the thumbs up and good on you, and they're living, mate. You don't euthanize these people. It's just, so, but they've just been triggered by the alternate comment. That's it. Now, and the other thing is, a few people have been saying is get him a ramp in and out of the car. I'm not really putting him in the truck much, but even when he had this thing, he hops up and then he hops down. Now, if I have a ramp, he has to hop down a ramp. It doesn't work as much. So, that's not on. And someone's written in saying, oh, if an animal can't put its weight on all four legs, it's illegal to transport them. They're trying to fucking knock me out of the game. And but Gary can support himself on all four legs. He's just got a bit of a fucking limp and sometimes holds it up. So that's the fucking story, everyone. I hope that helps. If you want proof on all that, just go back through all the videos. I'll put a big compilation thing of Gary's whole, it's turned into a vet show, this fucking channel, for the last few months. But I'm hoping Gary's got a long life ahead of him still. He's only 5, and I've said a lot about the people sort of really trying to fucking knock what I've done. It's been a success, man. I'm looking back, I'm glad at everything that happened. Even the first vet was great. She ruled out the CAE virus, which is a common virus, through the blood test. Everyone's been great, and I've just followed my intuition and advice, and it's a combination of just luck and people helping out. We've got there. So Gary's going to be back, everyone. I'm just fucking resting him up now, and I'll be just doing a few fucking my own fucking videos this month with me and Maya, and we'll be doing a few gigs. Fucking turn up to them. I'm going to bring Gary. He loves just going out. Barry's going to come along. He's just going to be fucking resting there, sleeping and eating while people pat him and take photos. So thanks everyone for your support, guys, and 2017, man, it's going to be another big Gary year.